Hi everybody, it's Becky. This is a rant video. Can't help it. I'm a little frustrated right now. As you guys know, I just got through an unfill where they took all the fluid out of my band. I went back in, they put 4 cc's. It gave me some restriction, but not quite enough. So I went back and they put another cc. I thought I was okay because I was just on clear liquids until like the next day. All of a sudden, the next day, I was so tight that I was up all night long coughing up acid, and it was getting worse. So again, I was forced to go and meet someone after hours at the doctor's office. And this time, it wasn't even anyone that was part of my surgeon's office. She was a surgeon that was in the office across the hall. She wasn't even a bariatric surgeon or anything. And she was actually on call for my surgeon. So she met me at her office after hours. And of course, they won't just take a little bit out on a weekend. They have to take all your fluid out. And she didn't even have the right kind of needle. So I was starting to get really nervous. I was like, geez, if she doesn't even have the right needles, she's not even a bariatric surgeon, should I even be here? What if she, pokes a hole in my band tubing or something? I mean, what if she didn't know what she's doing? I was just so miserable that I knew I needed to get the fluid out, and I didn't want to go back home because she met me there and everything. Well, she goes down and finally gets another needle, and it's only about this long. And the needles that they usually use on us are like this long. It gives them, I mean, I know it sounds horrible, but when they're longer, at least you have a little more room to work with. Well, she pushes this, and it seemed thicker too. I mean, and who wants a thick, sharp, little short needle stuck in their stomach? I didn't. Well, she put it in there, and of course couldn't find the center of my port when everyone else that's given me fills can find it within always usually the first try. But she kept stabbing me in the stomach, and I swear to God, it was really hurting because she wasn't even getting my port. She was like just jabbing away, and inside my stomach is what it felt like. And I just started crying. I was like, oh my God, that hurts. You're not where you need to be. I go, I don't think your needle's long enough. And she was like, okay, well, let me go try to get another needle. So while she's gone, I guess another patient came in, and she was talking to that patient for what it seemed like forever. And I was tempted to just go home and say, forget it. Just forget it. I'm not going through this. I'll struggle with this until Monday when I could get into my office. But then she came back a little while after that, and she had a longer needle. She helped prop my back up with some pillows so that I had a little better position, and she did get the job done. It was a relief to get the fluid back out of there, but I was still so shook up by then that I didn't know what to do. My stomach felt so bruised and it was hurting, and I just wanted to go home. So I get home, and I'm okay. I mean, I can eat things now, and I'm trying not to do bad, and I'm trying not to be discouraged, guys. But I have to be honest with you, I'm a little frustrated. I only had 5 in my band this time, and it was so tight that I couldn't even stand it. So, when I first started with this, I thought that we would get to a nice, comfortable fill level, and then you wouldn't have to have fills very much after that you'd be done. But that's not the case. Your body can change. Stress can cause it to swell. There are a lot of different reasons why your band can tighten, which I've discovered. And so that's frustrating. It wouldn't be such a big deal if my insurance would pay for these things. But I just recently got a bill for a fill back in December, and now I have to work with my doctor's office and my insurance company to prove somehow that my fills are necessary, which, without them, I can't, there's no reason to even have a band if you can't have fills. So it's a little frustrating. I'm going to have to fight them. I'm going to have to appeal. I'm going to have to prove to them that it's a medical necessity. And in the meantime, I've had several since then, and they're like, I got a bill for $200 for one in December that I didn't even know I had to pay for, and I've had, about 3 or 4 since then, and I'm still confused. Do they charge me the same amount whether they take 1 cc out or 5, or do they charge the same for taking fluid out as they do for fluid putting in? They charge like $400 for a fill. And I'm sorry, all it is a needle with a little bit of saline. I'm a little frustrated because I feel like maybe they could just, those fills should be included in all of this. And, maybe they can charge us for an office visit. But because it has to be done so often, and it's not always my fault, they overfilled my band 3 times in the last 7 months, and I've had to have the fluid all taken out and start over trying to reach a good restriction level. And it's like my fault, and I have to pay these big fees every single time. It's a little frustrating, especially when our money is really tight and, I can't afford it, so anyway, I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to come to grips with it all. Um, I think part of it is my own fault in that I think I needed to have my band on the tight side in order to succeed, when maybe what I really need is to keep it a little bit on the looser side, so that in case you do have body changes that cause your body to swell around the band, there'll be a little room there. The drawback with that is that, yeah, you are going to struggle with normal hunger like everyone else does, but I guess that's what I have to face. I have to face the fact that there is no miracle cure, that this band will only just be a little tool, because if I have it at about 3 or 4 cc's in there, or even 4.5 or whatever, maybe that will be just enough to prevent me from eating large quantities. But I'll still have to use my own measure of control and my own willpower. I will still have to decide to make good health choices, and I'll have to find a little balance there. But it has been frustrating, guys. I'm sorry this is another negative video, but I just wanted you guys to know where I'm at now. I had a terrible experience with this last unfill, and I already had an appointment scheduled for May 11th. So my stomach's kind of irritated right now, and after that last bout with the tightness and this last unfill experience, I think I'm going to just give it a rest until May 11th. Obviously I'm still going to try to eat healthy and exercise, and I want to keep losing weight, but I don't know, I just kind of want to let my stomach rest a little bit. And my mind, I have to wrap my mind around all this. This was one of the reasons why I almost chose a different surgery, because I was worried about all these adjustments. I was worried that, in case I didn't have insurance, what would I do if I couldn't afford it? So it's kind of troublesome because there's really not much I can do about it at this point. But I'm going to let my stomach rest. I'm going to take it easy as far as that goes. And I'm going to fight the insurance company to get them to pay for these fills, because they are a medical necessity at this point. They're necessary for me because of the surgery that I had. And whatever I got to do to prove that to them, I'm going to try to do. What other choices do I have? But anyway, that's my frustration with that right now. I appreciate all your encouragement. I don't want to give up on this thing. I don't want to be discouraged. I'm just going to let this sink in a little bit. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to refocus. And I'm going to approach it with a little bit differently this time. I'm going to learn how to live with the band a little looser. And that way I have a little more freedom in case, something happens. So hopefully this helped someone out there. If you're going to get the band and you're having some doubts about it, keep all of this stuff in mind, because it is hard. But I also have to keep in mind that I've lost about 70 pounds. So it has been working for me. Although there have been some bumps in the road and it's been a little challenging, it can work if you keep trying. So you guys take care, and I'll see you on Thursday when I make my update. Bye.